You're also watching TVC News at 1. Let's turn attention to business now. The Federation Account Allocation Committee, FAC, has shared the sum of 1.2 trillion naira as a revenue for April 2024 among the federal government, state, and local government councils. FAC, in a communique issued in Abuja by the committee, said the 1.2 trillion naira total distributable revenue comprised statutory revenue of 284.716 billion and value-added tax revenue of 466.45 billion naira. It also comprises electronic money transfer levy revenue of 18.02 billion naira and exchange difference revenue of 438.8 billion naira. The total revenue of 2.19 billion naira was available in April, and the total deduction for cost of collection is 80.51 billion naira. Total transfers, interventions, and refunds are 903.4 billion. Gross statutory revenue of 1.23 billion naira was received for the month under review, higher than the sum of 1.01 billion naira received in March by 216.82 billion naira. From the 1.2 trillion naira total distributable revenue, the federal government received 390.41 billion naira, and state government received 403.4 billion, and the local government councils received 293.81 billion naira. Away from there now, the Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation Limited says it is partnering with the Nasarawa State Government and private sector players in the oil and gas sector to grow the nation's economy. The group managing director of the corporation, Mr. MeleKyari, said this while delivering a keynote address on energy at the ongoing Nasarawa Investment Summit in Lafia. At the GMD, who was represented by the Executive Vice President, Gas, Power and New Energy, Mr. OlalekanOgunleye, said the development of the gas sector presents a unique opportunity to leverage energy solutions using gas to enhance energy security. According to him, Nasarawa State is undoubtedly blessed with substantial natural gas reserves with the potential to power industry, drive economic growth, and improve the lives of citizens. On his part, Governor AbdullahiSule, while wooing investors to invest in the oil and gas sector, said the state had created a conducive business environment for investors. Now, the African Development Bank is set to inaugurate the 2024 edition of its flagship African Economic Outlook to accelerate Africa's transformation. President of the bank, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, said he would inaugurate the report with African finance ministers, central bank governors, and international development partners. The report will be inaugurated on the sidelines of the bank's annual meeting scheduled for May 30th, 2024 at the Kenyatta International Conventional Center in Nairobi. African Economic Outlook 2024 report will take stock of Africa's progress in transforming its economy and sustaining development over the past decade. And now Nigeria's headline inflation rate hit 33.69% in April, up from 32 or 33.2% in March 2024. This is according to the latest report by the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics. From food prices to transportation costs, inflationary pressures have permeated various facets of the economy, posing challenges for businesses, consumers, and policymakers alike. International business and project development consultant Mr. Emeka Okengo on our flagship program, Business Nigeria, highlighted ways Nigeria's inflation can be addressed.
Is at the heart and soul of what drives your inflationary trends, is raw materials. Because what happens is that by the time you bring in these raw materials, you do not have the control of your back end. Okay, and then you bring in raw materials that are already finished goods from other people's, countries. Then you are at that level 5 or level 6 of now turning resin, which is finished product, into raw materials for the production of your plastics. And this is a country that has a capacity to flood the international markets with petrochemical products. If we begin as a country to say, okay, if we know that the causes of this inflation, I don't want to look at the numbers. If it hits 60%, so what? America hit 60% and they didn't fall off the sky. China has hit 79%. They are not off the radar. A lot of more countries are hitting, 40, 50, 60, and are still surviving. What are they doing? This will be my interest. And what they are doing is that they are focusing on building their local capacity to be self-sufficient in their raw material needs.
Nigeria now, Asian stocks markets are trading mostly lower earlier today following the broadly negative cues from global markets overnight as traders seemingly paused to assess the near-term outlook for the market and indulged in taking out some profit from the market following recent gains after the recent rally. Japan's Nikkei index closed the morning up by 0.36% after hitting low earlier. Japanese stocks closed sharply higher on Thursday. On Wall Street, stocks moved to the upside early in the section, but fluctuated over the trading day before eventually closing modestly lower. While the Dow climbed for the first time in morning trade, the blue chips index ended the day 0.1% down. The S&P 500 dipped 0.2%, and the Nasdaq fell 0.3%. The major European markets also moved to the downside on the day, while the UK's FTSE index edged down by 0.1%. The French CAC 40 index and the German DAX index slid by 0.6% and 0.7% respectively. And our President Joe Biden has signed sweeping aviation legislation that will boost U.S. air traffic controllers staffing, increasing funds to avert runway close call incidents and speed up refunds for cancelled flights. The $105 billion 5-year measure reauthorizes the Federal Aviation Administration. It prohibits airlines from charging fees for families to sit together, requires airplanes to be equipped with 25-hour cockpit recording devices, raises maximum civil penalties for airline consumer violations from $25,000 per violation to $75,000, and boosts aircraft production scrutiny. U.S. Senate Commerce Committee Chair Maria Cantwell said the new law follows flight disruptions, runway close calls, and consumer frustrations, and is set to deliver the safest, most reliable aviation system in the world. The law also adds 5 daily round-trip takeoffs and a landing slot at busy Washington National Airport, which Delta Airlines had lobbied for, and also direct the FAA to deploy advanced airport surface technology to help prevent collisions. FAA Administrator Mike Whittaker said the bill allows more runway safety technology, more air traffic controllers, and stronger oversight of aircraft production. And in the crude oil space now, prices gained earlier today with global benchmark Brent set for its first weekly increase in 3 weeks on signs of improving global demand amid stronger economic indicators from key consumers and China and the United States. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude rose to sell at $79.46 per barrel with an upward price reveal of 0.29%. Brent crude futures also experienced an uptick of 0.44%, selling at $83.64 per barrel. And Burning Light recorded an upward price margin of 0.35%, selling at $83 per barrel. And for the OPEC basket, crude oil dealers are offering $82.95 per barrel with an upsurge of 0.16%.